What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the John J Gaming channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic, and today I have some special Maximum Football related news, as Maximum Football Spear Interactive just dropped this logo announcing their new college football game that they are planning to release in September, building off of the game that they built back in 2019 with Maximum Football 2019 centering around the college dynasty, and it looks like it's going to be like that again, as well as maintain having the cover athlete, the feature athlete of this game, in Doug Flutie, the same Doug Flutie that did this against the Miami Hurricanes. Yeah, that Doug Flutie. So with the marketing campaign ramping up for Maximum Football, once again, I wanted to take the time to talk about my wish list for 2020 Maximum Football. It's going to be a good one. Now, I do want to point out that this is simply my personal opinion, and this is simply my wish list for the game. But if there's other stuff that you want to see in this year's game, let me know down in the comments, and feel free to subscribe to the channel as well if you want more Maximum Football 20 content on this YouTube channel. Now, let's go ahead and jump into this wish list. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the gameplay. It's one of the big reasons why a lot of people get any video game, really, is how the game plays. And you know, I just want to talk about a few things that they can change from 2019 to the 2020 release that's set to happen this fall, in terms of making their gameplay better, you know, for these football games. So one of the things I want to talk about is the camera angles. There's times, you know, like when you're punting the ball or you're receiving a punt, you know, the camera angle is set up in a way to where while you're receiving that punt, you can't see what's going on downfield. So that really hinders your decision making in whether you should make a fair catch or not, because obviously if you don't make that fair catch and they're right there in front of you, you know, that could lead to fumbles, and that could be a huge momentum shift for the other team, and you don't want that to happen because of a camera angle in how, you know, to decide your football games. You know, nobody wants that. And then, you know, speaking of camera angles, you know, would love to see more than one camera angle that you could choose from. You know, as you can see here on screen, you know, this is really, it's not a bad camera angle. You know, everyone plays on this camera angle, but maybe some people want to play at a different angle, or if you want to play a CPU versus CPU matchup, you know, such as how things go down over on GG9's channel. I can link him down in the description below to give you guys a good idea of what I'm talking about. You know, he has a setup at a different view for the CPU games, you know, and if you want to have a CPU game, you know, or have the computer play itself, in, you know, in Maximum Football 2019, you know, this is the camera view right here that you have, and it doesn't change unless it's, you know, of course, a punt or like a kickoff or whatever. So we love to see more camera angles in the game in general, as well as addressed camera angles for punts. Also for AI intelligence, man, there are some times where, you know, the computer will just be too over aggressive. I like what they did with the idea that late in the game, you know, 2-point conversions, the computer will decide to go for 2 to try to win the game instead of maybe going for the extra point for the tie. But there are times, you know, like where, you know, the 2-point conversion is simply not necessary, you know, and that, you know, could have an impact on the game as well. And that was evident in the, you know, the CPU versus CPU. I had an all Korea teams dynasty, and that happened a lot when I was recording those games. I can leave those playlists too down in the description to let y'all know what I'm talking about. But, you know, that had a big impact in the game, so I'd like to see them tone that down. And then sometimes late in the first half, they would go like for 4th down conversions, which sometimes, you know, makes sense, but other times it would be like a 4th and 12 on their own 27 or something like that, and they would still go for it on 4th down. And that simply doesn't make sense. No coach in the right mind would actually do that, you know. So, I mean, I would like to see them address that as well, maybe with their AI intelligence. And then another thing is, you know, the defense, you know, sometimes when you snap the ball, you initially snap it, and before you even have time to start processing what's going on in the field, you'll immediately get sacked. So I'd like to see them maybe like tweak with the something with the defensive line. I don't know if it's an offensive line thing or whatever. You know, I'm not a huge football breakdown guy. You know, that's more of Ryan Moody's thing. But, you know, I'd like to see them address that as well. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the recruiting, because I do like the base that they put together, but there's also some things that maybe they can tweak. And the main thing that I would really like to see them tweak is, you know, the recruiting in terms of when guys sign, because you can see on screen, you know, there'll be some guys that, you know, that have their bar almost all the way filled up, and you know how it is, you know, in the NCAA games, you know, when that bar is filled up, they'll usually commit, or it'll become a recruiting battle between 2 or 3 or however many schools. You know, here, you know, I honestly could never really figure out like how the recruiting works, so, you know, it really hampered my ability to do a long-term dynasty, which is a shame, because I actually did enjoy the game when I was actually playing it, you know, and I buy it for the college aspect like a lot of you guys. So I'd like to see them do that, as well as a recruiting class rankings. You know, I want to see where my recruiting class stands with other recruiting class in this college football universe. How's my incoming freshman compared to other incoming freshmen coming in for these other teams? You know, I would really love to see that as well. But overall, I do like the foundation that they have. It actually really reminds me of NCAA Football 12, where you have to call the prospects and actually get to know them, build that relationship before they will go ahead and sign with your program, instead of assigning however many points on a week-to-week basis. You know, so those are my thoughts on recruiting, and it really only leads me to one more thing that I really want to talk about, speaking of this like main menu. Finally, I want to talk about the customization that is in this game, because I think that's the coolest part of the game, the level of customization that you can have, and I think you can build on that even further, just making a few changes, such as, you know, we gotta talk about these color sliders. You know, the color sliders is more time consuming. You know, it takes a lot of work to go in and just individually manually change one of these. You know, I wish there was a way to make that go faster, maybe instead of the sliders trying to mix colors, you know, really relying on that art school experience. You can just go and like pick certain colors, just like an NCAA in 14, and then be able to change the colors on the logo too. That would be really nice to see as well, because, you know, the logo, not being able to change the color kind of limits what colors you can use for the uniform, and that could kind of be a damper for some folks. And then this is more of a reach, but being able to customize the league sizes. You know, Division 3 has close to 250 schools. You know, some high school leagues have less than 130 schools in a certain state. You know, so being able to change the number of teams that are in a league, you know, besides the 130 for US, and I think it's 27 for the Canadian college dynasty, being able to change those numbers around, you know, every time you start a dynasty up, that would be extremely cool to see as well, and I would love for them to continue to build upon that customization moving forward. So that's my wish list for Maximum Football 2020. I'm definitely excited about the leap that I think these guys are going to take from last year and move forward into this year's game that's going to be releasing this fall, and we'll definitely be buying this game when it's released in order to support them, and probably will put in a good number of hours into this game as well. But what about you guys? What do you want to see in Maximum Football 2020? Let me know down in the comments down below, and also feel free to hit that like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you happen to be brand new, as that really helps me out and I would truly appreciate it. But that's all I have for today though. Thank you guys so much for listening to the entirety of this video. This is John J Gaming on the mic, and I hope that you're all having a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.